Today on the Grid podcast, we'll talk about the new FIFA 23 trailer, the GameCube mods, and the PlayStation 5 Pro. Hope you enjoy.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Game Grid with today Wim next to me and next to him George, of course.
Hello.
And me, Armando. And let's hear what you guys did this week.
Well, I played a lot of Final Fantasy X, trying to platinum the game, so a lot of time went in that.
How much hours did you actually spend totally completing all the trophies?
Well, my save file said around 150 hours.
Okay. So that's actually pretty fast still. Because I'm working on the platinum for it now and it's taking a really long time.
Longer than 150 hours?
I'm gonna be longer. I'm gonna be busy for a while. I'm just at the part where the game turned into Pokemon. And now I'm gonna catch them all. So it's gonna take a long while. But props, man. That's an achievement.
Yes, it is. Yes.
So you only did Final Fantasy?
For about with sometimes a break because it gets the grinding gets boring really fast. So.
Well, then it's probably a better question because this is the first time he's in the episode. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Well, yeah, sure. I like to play a lot of different types of games. From racing games to RPGs to action adventure to fighting, all kind of games.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a diverse kind of gamer. Actually.
And what if you have to pick a top 3 of games? What would be in that list?
Witcher 3.
Good.
Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
And Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time, that's also a classic. So your favorite games are the RPGs.
Yes.
So how are you with those Elden Ring games? Of course I know, but the people don't know.
Well, yeah, I like those games too. The From Software games like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I really like those. I believe I have all kinds of all the games they brought out from Star Wars to Elden Ring.
Have you platinumed them all?
No, and that's because the difficulty spike at sometimes is crazy. I mean, it gets to the point of smashing controllers. And today I have the notion of putting them away because it cost me a lot of money.
Yeah, how many PlayStation 5 controllers did you
destroy?
Destroy is the right word, I think. Yeah.
Well, I didn't destroy them as of yet, so I'm doing good now.
Okay.
It's not the same as with my Xbox 360.
So no controller drift or
smash
too hard.
The controller drift, I mean, if you can help it, of course, then I'd like to know, but yeah, I got one controller with controller drift,
So what I'm curious about, because for the viewers here, we haven't seen Wim before, and maybe a little bit funny to talk a little bit about the history of Wim, because we know him already for a really long time.
Yeah.
And maybe you want to start off, George, by telling us a little bit more about Wim, because the story actually starts with George.
Yeah, I know Wim since I was 4 years old, so and we used to have a play date every Tuesday. Every Tuesday, so he would come over, we would eat spaghetti and just game all day. So that's always very nice times. And he was always the brother from another mother that's next door. And you might have seen him on Pretty Bad Gamers, other channel we tried, so that's the history in a nutshell, I guess.
Yeah. Can you also tell us a little bit more about a certain Sega controller?
this is gonna be bad.
Well, I think it's best if Wim tells it himself.
Even better.
And I asked him last week, he still has that controller, but tell the story.
Well, I was around 6, 7, I guess.
Yeah.
When we were playing a game, and well, let's say I'm not too good at losing a game gracefully. I mean,
that's nicely explained.
I don't like it. Like to say that. So I got a bit mad, just a bit, and I needed to vent my anger in some way. And some of our young viewers might not know this, but in olden times the controllers used to have wires.
Yeah, would have cable.
Well, I saw it, and let's just say
he took a chunk right out of it.
Yeah, I took a bite out of it, and funny enough, it still works.
Yes.
So there's a bit of blue tape around it, but it still functions. So
like a quality product.
Yeah, hooray for good old fashioned.
The funniest thing about that story, I find that you didn't smash the controller, but you took the time to take a bite out of it. Because you would think like I would just smash this until it's just broken pieces. But
well, yeah, you try to keep it in, and eventually it doesn't work. So
well.
So, do we see this? Might we see this controller in a future episode that we can either repair it or replace the cable, or?
I don't think. Of course, it's your choice, but I don't think this is a controller you should repair.
No, it's
this is nostalgia.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Like I asked about it, I was actually happy he still had the controller because it's really one of those gaming moments I won't soon forget.
Yeah.
Because one, he bit the controller, but two, his parents didn't beat him to death. So that was the most amazing thing for me. So
fun fact: my brother still plays with it now.
oh, that's so cool.
and it's a Sega Genesis controller.
Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's some quality shit right there, man. That's some quality shit.
Welcome to the 90s.
You know many controllers I just destroyed, like they either have controller drift or the cushion of the thumbstick just
Oh
goes
yeah, the
off.
rubber.
Oh yes.
And the rubber of the thumbstick, it's just like shit. And yeah, well, you can eat those controllers. And
They will still function.
And of course, with him, we always play FIFA, so he's kind of the one I'm in with the party chat, and we just coach each other through those difficult games where FIFA tries to fuck us around. So yeah, it's fun, and I'm happy you're here, man. I'm really happy.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be here. Good to be here.
And can you tell us a little bit more about your week?
Well, I've been playing Final Fantasy X, and I want to get that platinum. And well, it was kind of hard because I'm busy trying to platinum it, and I was having women at the party chip just doing it already. It's like, yeah, I'm almost there. I'm like, some fucked up way I get competitive still. So I was like, in the back of my mind was maybe I can platinum it before him because he only had two or three trophies left.
Well, Wim doesn't have that feeling, right?
No, there was no chance in hell I was gonna beat him to it. There was just no chance. I thought, oh well, maybe that last boss he won't be able to penance. And he was literally in the party chat with him. So yes, I'm using what's the English name? Jojimbo. And he has a move that can kill somebody at once. And like, he's probably gonna hit it. Yeah, and I heard him, oh, it works, he's doing it. And so that competition was over, but I still want the platinum for that game. So I'm working on that. I played a little bit of FIFA because like I told you last week, my son's birthday party was there, and you guys came over, and my cousins, and when everybody is together, there's only one game you have to play, and that's FIFA. So I whooped Luther Lakes behind with 12-0.
Oh, even his last name?
Even his last name. You can't escape this shit, man. He was talking shit. But it was funny. My cousin, he's about 11 years old. And he came from, how would you like an ass whooping with FIFA? So it was serious. It's on because in my family we talk when we win, so we can. You don't want to lose. So I come ahead like 1-0, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a piece of cake. Then he made it 1-1, and then he came 2-1. He pressed the pause button, went outside like, I'm ahead.
Oh!
So I was already starting to sweat it a little bit, from, oh no, I can't lose. So, but
having this whole championship and playing with all guys above 20, and this guy's getting his ass whooped by everybody.
The next generation is coming for my title, so I can't have that shit. So, but I managed to beat him like twice, and then he didn't want to play me anymore.
That's the way I should.
He was crushed.
He was crushed, and that's how I like my
my opponent.
Crushed
to pieces.
But he played really, really well. Like he was able to beat his uncles, easy. So
also Luther.
He beat Luther like easy. Like when I played him, I already knew like, oh, he will never win from Typhoon again. So that was actually pretty fun, and he's gonna be at the next tournament. So
that's cool.
That's what I was really
nice.
cool. So that was my week. But how was your week, my man?
My week was enjoying the weather outside. That's also something you do when it's finally good weather in the Netherlands. And I was struggling a little bit with the GameCube of Andy that I already told last week. And I already said that it was a problem with the gauge wire that we used. So yesterday I exchanged the wires. I connected it again, and it booted.
Nice.
Finally,
Nice.
right into Swish. I have it right here.
Yes, because you installed the Pico Blueberry.
Yeah, so here we have Andy's GameCube. We've installed the Raspberry Pi Pico. And what this mod actually does is you can boot into all different kinds of software by pressing different buttons. And now only Swish was installed. And underneath his GameCube we have this special compartment here. It's a little bit wiggly because I'm not really sure if he has the best quality board here, but you can also add like a piece of plastic. But here we have it. It's in the right corner of the console. And that's where the SD card goes, and then you can just drop games in there and load them. So yesterday I've been loading a game that we physically own and also have a digital copy of. And we booted Luigi's Mansion. And it took like, let's say, I think 20 seconds or something for files being loaded. And then it starts up. And it's really nice to see this GameCube shine again. I'll also do the mod on my own GameCube. And we'll show that on the channel as well. Because first we wanted to try it with somebody else's GameCube, of course, before you fuck up your own GameCube, right?
Yeah.
So,
of course.
If you have to give it a difficulty grade, like... How hard is it to actually
do this
that mod?
Well, if you have the right like tools and the right solder and the right solder device, I think you can finish this off in like let's say in half an hour. So this is a pretty easy job. Of course, you do need to be good at soldering stuff, because if you can't do that, you'll probably have a really hard time, because there are pretty small like components that you have to solder to. This is the actual Pico that we used. And this Pico right here is the Wi-Fi edition. So I wasn't really sure if this was going to work right out of the box. So because this is the Wi-Fi edition when you compare it to the normal edition, which only connects to the micro USB. And it booted right away. So that's nice to know. He will also... WebHDX will also create a software or firmware which is specifically for the Wi-Fi edition, I guess. And then you can upload it through Wi-Fi, the update. So that's nice as well. You don't have to do anything else.
Nice. Cool.
And that's pretty cool. And that's also one of the things I would really like to talk about for this week, because there were some really nice tweets. One of the tweets was... one of the guys here in the Netherlands, he created the front piece of the motherboard. So if you remove this gray part here, you have the controller part of the of the GameCube, and that's also a board on its own. And what he created is this board again, but with the mod chip already in there in this board. So the only thing you have to do is solder directly to the front of the GameCube, and then it works right out the box. So that's already a pretty cool mod, but Laser Beer Industries had also an even better mod, in my opinion. It would be even cooler if they would be included together.
Well, I'm going to small pause, just lean in a little bit more.
So you can see.
So that's actually okay.
Yeah, so what Greg made is he did another mod for the front again. So it's the same board, but then he put the blue retro style board in there. Incorporate right into the board, which means that if you connect your GameCube, you can connect wireless controllers to these gates without any issue. You don't have to put anything here in. The only thing you have to do is exchange the board, solder in the mod chip, and then it's a really cool add-on for your GameCube. The best thing would be if they combine the Pico and the blue retro mod, but we're still waiting for something like this. So that's something really awesome. And that's something that I wanted to share for this week.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool, man. And especially since like last week you had the cables were a little bit too
thin.
Yeah.
So I used 30 gauge instead of 22, and now I've used 22, and it was flawless. Booted right away, so that's cool.
So nice to have that up and running.
Yeah.
And can't wait to come and do the next one.
And then in screen.
And then you
on the big screen.
And then you can see it how he does that, and maybe you can
learn something from this.
So that
So tell us something more about this week's main items.
Main items. Well, of course, PlayStation 5. The rumors have been going around for a very long time that there's a new PlayStation Pro coming, PlayStation 5 Pro. And
already?
Yes, already. And the question I had for you two guys was, one, is this actually a good thing, and isn't it a little bit too soon? And we talked last week about what they did with the new PlayStation version. So how about you, Wim? What do you think of the new PlayStation Pro, and is it necessary?
Yeah, I think it's a bit too soon though, because PlayStation 5 is around for, what is it?
2 years or something?
2 years maybe?
It started with Corona, the PlayStation, so it's 2 years,
So when they already bring out a Pro,
people didn't even have the time to buy the first one.
Yeah, I mean, there's still shipment issues, so come on. Make sure you're up to speed with those, and then start thinking about the Pro.
Yeah, or there's another reason for it. That could be, of course, because there's chip shortage.
Yeah.
And for some of the reasons why they exchange hardware and make it a sort of marketing crap, they just used different components which are easier to get. And if you call it a PlayStation Pro, then people might think, oh, we need to buy this one.
Yeah.
So that could be a possibility.
So you think the specs of the Pro would actually be worse?
Could be. They did that, I think, this year to the PlayStation 5. They exchanged the cooling system, and this was more of production kind of savage.
Yeah.
The original one that you have, I think you have the one.
Yeah.
The first.
Are both day ones, right?
Yeah.
Real PlayStation fans, day one.
So this PlayStation has I think double the copper in it.
Yeah.
And afterwards, they just chopped half out of it because they were like, it's too expensive, this copper. And probably this will do it as well. So I'm just curious what that does in the future. So would the PlayStation 5 start having issues, like breathing issues? The last one, and the first one probably didn't, because it has larger cooling blocks.
And it's especially with the PlayStation 5, it just sucks in dust like a motherfucker, because it's you know the design under the hood, it just keeps sucking in.
There's this fan,
and you really have to you really have to keep it clean.
Keep it clean. Yeah.
I probably think the life cycles of the new PlayStation 5 will be a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
But
let's hope not.
But I think there's actually no reason to have a PlayStation Pro, PlayStation 5 right now. I mean, like you already said, the people who want a PlayStation 5 can't even get a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
I mean, who are you kidding? And they also have the new VR headset announced, of course. So I'm thinking you're putting too many eggs in the basket. Just get the first one out right now, and then.
Yeah, well, my curiosity is maybe it's because there's a certain chip in it which is really hard to get.
Yeah.
And if they exchange it with a chip that has better graphics but is cheaper to get and easier to get, that would probably be a good reason for a PlayStation 5 Pro. But the only reason something like that would work is if the stock would completely disappear from the original one. So if they would only start selling the PlayStation 5 Pro and stop selling the PlayStation 5, or they would still sell it, but then it doesn't really make any sense because you would have 2 PlayStations would probably cost the same in production, and then in the end,
Yeah, that would be weird.
the one is the other one is more expensive than the other, so that will be strange. So I'm really curious what the strategic choice around this is, because normally they would launch something like this in like the 4th or the 5th year of the console.
So to keep it going.
That's the same thing with the Nintendo Switch at the moment. So there's a lot of rumors around where they said they were going to release a 4K version.
Yeah.
And in my eyes, it's a little strange. I'm not even sure if this is like an actual thing that would happen. And the reason for that is because the Switch is already here for, I think, like 5 years now, because I think it's been launched in 2017. If they would launch a 4K version right now, but also be expected to launch the next generation Switch in 2023, it would be really close. And it is not anything like Nintendo. They would just want to release something and then ride the whole roller coaster with this hardware as long as possible.
Grind it into the ground.
So what my initial thought would be when it comes to the next gen Switch is that it's not actually a I would imagine this thing as being the Switch 2, but they would call it the 4K Switch.
Yeah.
They would still use the same chips, so you could still play Switch 1 games on this device, but still being able to play other games, more graphically advanced games that are only 4K Switch compatible, for instance, with this Switch as well.
Yeah, it would make more sense to just release it as a new console, like the Switch 2, for example. Yeah. And then you wouldn't have that confusion in the market, like, we both worked at Bart Smith, like you would get those questions from those older people, is this compatible with this? And you have to explain, so I really wonder what they're going to do.
Yeah, and it's a logical step like this, and if they would do it like this, they still have a really good feeling with the market at the moment. So it's not like the Switch is almost dying or something. It's more like the time is almost over because there's 6 years with no initial like big hardware changes other than the OLED version, which only gives you an OLED in the Switch. So it's really, I think that they can ride this roller coaster for at least another couple of years. So if they would launch a 4K version, which is actually like the Switch 2, it would make really big sense.
Yeah, that would actually be very nice. And it would help like with third-party developers, like making it easier to the gap between this generation, like PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, to kind of being able to release those games from there.
Yeah, and they're probably not making like a huge step, because they are only exchanging the processor, and that makes it possible to also ray trace these games, like the next gen can do right now. But I'm really curious if this is the step they're going to take, especially because if you look at the last sort of generations, how they sold things, they'll just have like cheaper editions. And it would be the perfect match for them to sell the original Switch like a sort of DS, 2DS XL, for instance, and then sell the next gen like the 4K model, because they don't have any Game Boys anymore. So if they keep that sort of style of strategy and keep selling the original Switch as a sort of lower end Switch and the 4K Switch as the new 4K thing with better graphics, that would make perfect sense for them. And it's also possible because if you have a modded Switch right now, you can just boost the processor and you have better graphics already and better frame rate. So that is possible with Switch. So if they would do that, you can just drop your original Switch games in this 4K model and have better frame rate and have better graphics. So I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, nice. Then you have a good handheld to play games if you use your original Switch to play those games and use the 4K one to play the new games.
Yeah.
That would actually be pretty nice.
So PlayStation is not going to take this sort of strategy because they're just trying to find ways to actually sell PlayStation 5 because they don't have them in stock.
To get PlayStations actually on the market.
So, on the shelves.
Yes, and with the rumors of a conference coming from PlayStation in the coming months, they'll probably show it right there.
Yeah.
So that... but on to some other gaming news, like every year, but this year is the last year. FIFA 23. They released the trailer. They released the cover of the player that's on it. So, what did you guys think of it? before I go all ape shit on this fucking game.
Let's go to Armando first.
Yeah, let's go Armando.
Well, what I found,
like you don't play FIFA at all, so
yeah, I have played it like in a really long time ago. What I find funny is, you know how I am with these modern times and some of these sort of progressives. They always call themselves progressive. And I thought it was just really funny that for this year's, I think this year's was the first model, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, and they'll add this to the next FIFA as well, is the option to play as women during the football matches. And which I just found such a big laugh is that EA had these numbers, like how many people actually play with the women's teams. And there was like less than 3% of the total gamer population that plays FIFA plays with these women teams, and it's just freaking funny because they're constantly boosting these women's teams. It's the same with the WNBA.
Yeah,
it's just a gigantic waste of money and waste of everybody's time, and it's hard to say these things. Well, not for me because I actually think it's a waste of time and money, but people just like action. And if you have a lack of action in these teams and you're just watching a sort of regular-ass college game, people aren't interested. They want to have action. They want to see dunks. They want to see big, what is this called? This action in football where they jump and then kick from the other side.
A bicycle
kick.
So they want to see stuff like this, and that doesn't happen in these games. So it's just funny that you see that people aren't actually really waiting for these games, and they're just not playing it. Then they're just playing the regular types in these games and play with men's teams.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that women teams can do really nice stuff, but it's just the general opinion of people that they want to do it as it's always been, and they don't want to see these added bonuses.
It's simple, like money talks, and like women aren't supporting themselves. So
yeah,
I think that's the main thing, because if nobody finds it interesting, so not even the women find it interesting. So not to sound
it's so interesting right now that even
just look at the numbers, and I think especially with the new marketing strategy of FIFA by putting a woman on the cover of the game. I'm like, I thought about it, and like, I think
let's boost this 3%.
Well, it's okay if you do it, but then you have to go all in with it. So that means like you have Ultimate Team, like that's the main game mode. Make an Ultimate Team for the women's division, and then you will actually have it completely incorporated in your game. But I don't think they're gonna do this, so it's just for marketing to get those.
You know who does?
People,
but you do know that at the moment the best women's in these teams are transferred guys. That's who are winning the prizes right now.
Yeah, but that's something time will take care of for itself. What did you think of the gameplay trailer, Wim?
Well, the trailer didn't say that much. I mean, it was a cool show and all, but you didn't see any actual gameplay, like a millisecond or something. But and I really missed that. I mean, show me what it's like to play a small section of a game. Let me see how the dribble goes. Let me see how the passing goes. Let me see. Something.
Yeah.
You have to find this out when you buy the game.
Yeah, and that's
EA Sports.
And that's kind of the fucked up thing, because you know, like we're pretty big in Ultimate Team, so we're gonna buy the next one anyway. But it's like they know that, so they're like not even making an effort anymore. They're like, yeah, you're gonna buy it anyway, so I would give you anything. Like something like, I think the first trailer should show something of Ultimate Team also, because that's their big money maker, that's their cash flow grab milk thing. Fuck. but nothing.
But it's not gambling.
It's not gambling. Even the Dutch government said it's not gambling. They looked into it.
It's just making money.
It's just making money. So
ridiculous.
Like last year, how EA was screwing us with the Dutch players and the special players, which were, how do I say it? There weren't that many, like compared to previous years.
Yeah.
So this year, like our government said, you're okay. You can do your gambling thing here, so forgive us. Give us Arjen Robben, give us Jaap Stam, and I think that's what I really want. So so
And you see that it works, right? Because you still want to buy it, and if they're back, it's even better.
Yes.
So get on with the gambling.
Yeah, and that's kind of the smart thing they did, because it's kind of the community you have in it. Like I play with Wim and my cousin, and we're always in party chat together. And then when the FUT Champions weekend happened, you're all talking to each other, and you're kind of you're sharing your sorrows. And like, if he gets 10 wins, okay, I want those 11 wins. I want those extra motivation. So it's just the community that you have around makes it fun, like playing with friends. And even like this year we played a lot of co-op with Ultimate Team, so I hope they
make a tournament around that.
Make a tournament around that. Let us do more things with that, because I had a lot of fun, like just doing some co-op, because especially online there's tendency that the game screws you over, so that at least you go down together and makes the pain less.
Yes.
So
pre-order is in. I'm buying it.
Which version? I'm gonna pre-order it today. But which version did you pre-order?
Ultimate Edition.
Of course, I'm gonna pre-order the Ultimate Edition. I won't put any extra money in it, but that Ultimate Edition, I need those 4,000 points to get started.
Yes.
So,
exactly.
And then I had one more segment, and it was the Knights of the Old Republic is getting delayed indefinitely. So, as you all know, Knights of the Old Republic has been announced like, what was it, like 3 months ago? 4 months ago? Not that long ago, and now it's just suspended. So, all our hopes for a good Star Wars game has just gone out of the window. So, I want to know, did you guys play the Old Republic? Or did you see something? What did you think of the franchise? And really looking forward to it.
Well, I saw you play it, because at that time I didn't own an Xbox, so I couldn't buy it. So I saw you play it, and it looked like an incredible game. A lot of fun, RPG elements in it.
Choices.
Which I like. Choices which had effect on your story and your character. And actually was pretty progressive for at the time.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the games that do it now, like Second Son,
Infamous
Second Son, that have those types of choices now in 2. So pretty progressive, and it looked like a lot of fun. A good Star Wars game, which we're missing now.
Yes, we don't have any good Star Wars games. So, we have Fallen Order is okay, but isn't a masterpiece what I want. So, hey, Amanda, what do you think of the Old Republic? Have you any experience with that franchise?
I've only seen it. And also, you've exactly the same as what Wim just said. So I've only seen you playing it. I've seen some trailers, of course, and it is a game that I would like to play in the future. You know, I love to play old games, so
so this is definitely one that you have to play.
I'll just wait 10 years for something to release, and then
first he's gonna play The Witcher 3, then he's gonna watch Breaking Bad, and then maybe he can play Knights of the Old Republic.
And then maybe if I'm ready, I'll just start something.
After he has played Cyberpunk 2077, because you still have to play it, because your son is part Polish, so you have to support
the Polish heritage when it comes to game-related games.
So that was all the game news I actually had.
Yeah, and I also already added some of the mod-related news, and of course there are some small mods around, but I don't want to have like the smallest things to add, so I only like to add the more bigger mods that were released. Yeah. So I think that would be a perfect time to end the episode.
Yes.
So of course, thanks for watching again. We'll hope to see you next week again. And do you guys have something to add?
Well, thank you for coming, and hope to see you every week now, so that
that would be nice.
Do the show. So
I'm gonna try.
But
he works a ridiculous amount
of hours. So I hope you appreciate it that he's here right now, and that you'll be looking forward to seeing him again. So
then we'll see you next week again.